everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today I'm going to be doing some more Zen gameplay. I found a little break while we were moving to kind of record some quick content, kind of talk about the deck list, and then kind of talk about some recent changes I've made. Most of the deck list is majority kind of the same. I think the only trimming here is maybe up for Tiger Eye Reflex. I want to try this card out a little bit more. I feel like maybe it's still fine even if you're going for a more aggressive slant in your game plan. Just having like a card you can unbreak your hand with is pretty solid. Also like trimming down E-strikes here, and then I think adding like a blue pouncing key just to go up to like 27 blues. So this is kind of like the core idea here, and then we also have these like kind of blue flex slots on the board along with the D-React package for, new Dio. Mainly that's what the wax on wax off's for. Also like Aurora and Viscerai. I think Viscerai is like a little bit suspect. This package, I think it's still probably good, but I need a little bit more data to kind of say for sure. But yeah, this is like a pretty standard Zen list. Again, nothing super spicy here. E-Strike I just had to trim kind of for ratio purposes. I've also felt like 3 E-Strike is kind of a lot. Maybe like 2 is kind of like the sweet spot. Again, I don't even know if you necessarily need E-Strike. Like maybe this gets replaced by like a random red pouncing key, I think is the card. Yeah, pouncing key. So yeah, I'm not like super sold on E-Strike. It's kind of just filling a nice little flex slot since we're at 27 blues, which is a little bit lower than I think traditionally Zen builds have been at. Let's talk about like maybe cards, because I think that's something that gets brought up a lot. Like what cards are on kind of like the forefront of your consideration into your lists. I think right now, like E-Strike is obviously very good. I think you can kind of cut down blue. Like I've seen some builds, like the Taylor Crawford build, go down to 24 blues, which to me seems a little bit crazy, but it might honestly be kind of reasonable if you're like including E-Strike as kind of part of your mana curve game plan. But that still feels pretty low to me, so I'm gonna kind of go with my comfort of 27. Uh, I've seen lists that run about as high as like 30 blues. I don't know how I feel about that. It's like supposedly there's like a mathematical thing where it's like you'll always have like a blue for your transcend or whatever, but I don't know if that's actually like necessary to win. Like you can always like arsenal like a blue or like draw and transcend. Like there's a lot of like ways that you can like transcend that doesn't involve you drawing a blue on the same hand, and like drawing tons of blues also is kind of like not ideal. But anyways, that's a little like mana rant. But anyways, E-Strike is obviously a consideration. Race Face, I don't have the room for these. I don't think they're actually all that necessary into Dio. It feels like a little bit of overkill. What I would be most interested in this for is probably like Viscerai, because this card does hose Viscerai pretty bad. And he is one of the predominant decks right now, so this is kind of like the top of my consideration is like, can we find room for 2 erase faces? And it's kind of hard, right? Because this sideboard plan is very, very clean. Like we're running one of the strongest cards in the game right now. We're running Flick Flack, which is like a stupid busted react. And then we're also running this 6-card Dio package, which maybe is also kind of good into Viscerai, so there's kind of some overlap there. I don't think this card's like super necessary into Dio, so that's why I haven't been running it. But it is very, very good into Viscerai. So if you're expecting a lot of Viscerai, this card's obviously very solid. But I don't think I would compromise the main 60 for it. Again, I've also seen some lists that run like wax off in the main 60. That seems a little bit suspect to me. But again, that is something you can do if you just want to cut down on like the blue slot sideboarding as well. All right, let's talk Pouncing Key. So Pouncing Key, I think, would probably take the place of E-Strike. Again, I think it's also like a good like budget substitution if you don't have it. It also like pads the combo count. We're currently at 26 combo count, so lower than traditional Zen lists. Have typically run about 30 to 33 has been like the kind of like high end. This is maybe a consideration just to get a little bit more harmony value, but again, harmony is suspect at best for when it works. Weakest Link is also just generically a good card. Hoses a lot of the top decks in the format. Just very, very solid card. It's popper. It's just, very, very good. I think Erase Face is better if you're like targeting things like Viscerai and like Dio, but against most other things, it's kind of worse. I think you almost want Erase Face more you almost want Weakest Link more into like Aurora, for instance. Like I don't know how much they care about Erase Face on like a lot of turns. Let's talk other sideboards. So Snag's also a decent option if you're expecting a lot of new, but again, I think that's what this kind of React package here is for as well. So I don't think it's super necessary. Talisman Cremation could take the spot of like the 2 Cosmics as well. And then we have 3 Winds of Eternity, which maybe also like fill combo cards. So these are kind of like cards that are like top of mind. Then we also have like AB stuff, but Kano's not real, so we're at AB1. And yeah, like this I think is probably where I'm gonna like there's some combination of these cards that I think is definitely good. And if you're like playing Rings End of Worlds, which I think is a very, very strong pick, I think it's probably the list is probably going to end up running some of these cards in some ratios. But again, I don't have a ton of time to figure out that with the move. But yeah, this has been a very solid list. I did slightly update it since the last version. I think I don't even know if I kept track of that last version. Anyways, yeah, but someone else like won a top 8 on the, or someone else won their pro quest on this deck, so it's kind of cool. Good for them and not for me, I guess. But yeah, I think with that, I've kind of been rambling on, but this is kind of like what I think about in terms of like deck building instruction and like what cards are kind of like the top of my mind right now. Yeah, but let's have enough talk for the deck stuff. Let's go ahead and get into some games. All right, we're playing a Dash IE. In general, against IE, I like to go first. It feels a little bit bad, but I think you do still want to go first. And I think we're just running our main aggressive 60. I don't want to risk Needles just because they could be on a more fatigue plan. Yeah, I think we're just going to rock it with the 60. The reacts are obviously like quite strong if they're on like pistol, or not on pistol, but if they're on like a more boosty dash, which most of the time they are. I do just like to hedge in case they're like CYB fatigue, which is also kind of real. I don't know what this means. I feel like this means CYB fatigue, if anything, which I think is good for us. Interesting. I feel like to get the most cards out of their hand, we start with Bittering into Breed Anger. Because if they want to fully block this, they have to give us, theoretically, their whole hand, although they did have a react here, so that's fine. So it looks like they're on a more fatiguey plan, which again is why I'm hedging with Kakara. And typically I don't like to like dash go first because they can pretty easily just set up an item. Okay, looks like we're in for a potentially longer game. This hand's very, very good though. I don't think we're super at risk against pistol dash like this normally. Like, I just don't think they deal enough damage to erase us. Sure, we're gonna say no blocks on the pistol. They'll probably give it go again, and they might have like react or something like CNC. Okay. They do have to do the induction chamber during reactions though, so it is one important thing. All right, no blocks. Reacts, sure. So get their 4 damage in, which is pretty alright. And they're playing out another one. Okay. It's a little bit scary, but we do have a pretty good hand. Or no, they're activating it. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I thought they, for some reason, they played out a new one, but yeah. That's fine. Sure. So 4 damage from them, no item setup. That's pretty alright for us, honestly. They do gain life with the sigil though. So maybe this isn't CYB, maybe this is just like a fatigue dash. I didn't know this was still like an archetype, but apparently it is. What's our harmony count at? We have 1 combo card in graveyard, 1 in hand. We have 53. We're at 26 combo cards, so that's roughly 24 out of 53, so that's below average. We could put the Breed Anger on the bottom, but that doesn't actually change anything, right? Yeah, so I guess we'll just start with Harmony. Harmony is often best at the start of the game. Okay, banishing a Tiger Eye Reflex is not the end of the world. It means we're closer to Cosmic Awakening, if anything. Let's go ahead and preserve. We'll preserve what? Probably just another Breed Anger. That's probably fine. Transcend, gain a resource. Do we want to transcend again? We could. Definitely an option. What's our play then? Let's do it again. It just developed that 2 chi deck, which I think is kind of important. So we can actually like shuffle this chi in instead of putting it in the bottom. Kind of like that. So we'll gain a resource. We're at 2 resources. And then, do we want to CNC this turn? Probably. So what does that mean? We probably get like 100 wins or something. And then Arsenal Mauling. Then we're losing out on our harmony value. We could potentially get 3 harmony value here. Maybe it's worth it to just cash in on the harmony value and not go for the CNC. Yeah, let's go ahead and get like Breed Anger or something. I think that's fine. Doesn't really matter when we do it here, because we can always just save the tiger for the end. I think there's an argument to just going for CNC, especially if they're on like a more fatiguey dash that has like a lot of reacts. Which it looks like this is. I'm pretty sure that we're probably favored into this, even if it is like CYB or something. Sure. Then we'll do 100 wins into Tiger Mauling Key. Just get some good damage. We'll try to get 3 value out of our harmony. I think it's worth it. All right, blocking with the tower is fine. Them not having items set up this early is also quite good. Like a turn 1 item would be a lot scarier for them, but they could still also have it next hand. So we'll come in threatening 7 though. It's pretty alright. What is this card? Defends, you may pay 1. If you do, it gets +1. Is that good? It's not bad. Okay, giving us armor here is fine. Interesting. Okay. I'm fine with this. So we do have a live chi in the deck, which is pretty good. We do have 1 on the bottom, and we draw... This is exactly why you shuffle. Okay, they are on CYB. That's funny. Rewarded, by the way, for shuffling the chi. Okay. I am the best player in the world. So if they are on CYB, now our endgame becomes Cosmic, so we don't want to block with Traverse here. I think we're just going to pass. We do have 2 Cosmics in this list, and I'm going to try to demonstrate why I like 2 Cosmics into CYB. Looks like they're developing out the pistol again, shooting it. Or not. Sure. Hitting this with the pistol, so we're going to be taking a little bit of damage here, but again, it's important to develop out our hand. And then pass, yep. Okay, let's do a combo count again. So we have 3 in graveyard, we have 1 in hand, which means 4 out of 22, which means still below average. So we'll go ahead and harmony again, I think is fine. It lets us develop out another chi. Okay, and we hit, which is great. Let's go ahead and so we'll have stir the pot, gain a resource. This also just develops out another chi and also shuffles that other chi that we put on the bottom. And then, so we need 0 here, 1 here. So we can get a 1 cost, if I'm not mistaken. What is the 1 cost we want to get? Not sure. It has to be 1 cost with go again. So maybe like a spinning is fine. We also like don't have to do this now, but it's probably fine. So fortunately we can't do like chase or anything. We'd have to use like pouncing paws, which I don't necessarily want to develop out now. Again, I'm pretty confident against just normal CYB. They have also not developed out any yet, so I think that's a good sign for us. We are getting some good chip in here. We'll play out the 100 wins as well. So we're getting basically 6 value out of our harmony this turn, which is pretty good. Definitely not bad. I don't really know why I do the combo card count. I guess it's like we could opt to not play it if we wanted to. I wonder if Gakari here is actually better than CNC because they are not on an arsenal and they are a react heavy deck. I actually kind of like not CNCing here actually. I'm thinking about it. It's just setting 6 and like it could be quite threatening on a future turn. So I think we're just going to get our Kakara value in now. And then send another 2. So they are not doing the CYB plan super well just yet, but they are keeping a 4-card hand, so this is maybe item plus CYB or something, which I think we're fine if they want to do just like a setup turn. If given the opportunity, I probably will just use Traverse on this hand just to unbrick it, because this is not ideal. Okay, I'm totally fine with this C and C, though. I guess my question is, why are they holding up Pummel? Fascinating. Do we just get pummeled by Dash? I guess so. I guess if they have it, right? Sure. This feels like a pummel, but I'm not going to play around pummel from a dash. If they have it, they have it. Okay. I'm kind of glad I didn't. That definitely could have been a pummel. There's some crazy people out there. Sure. Counting my blessings is fine. Yeah, I don't know how you play pummel in a CYB deck as well. Seems a little bit suspect. Okay, I think we're going to start with the Tiger for 0 and 2 Tiger Swipe, and then probably do just want to CNC here. Should hopefully strip some cards out of their hand if they want to like defend a D-React in Arsenal. Which it kind of seemed like they were representing. Also, completely justified in not bringing in Needles into Dash, because there are some fucking weird Dash decks out there. I do like seeing 2-3 blocks out of them as well. Maybe means that they're not going to be able to defend this super easily. Although it is CYB, so whatever. Okay, so they pitch a CYB, develop it out. We get 6 damage in. I don't think this is actually the end of the world. And they're still not pressuring our life total very high, which is also kind of good for us. All right, we'll start with the Biting Breeze. Then we have the Grain Biting Breeze combo, which is also pretty good if we want to try to develop a Chase this hand. Which we might, honestly. Let's just go ahead and do it now. They might be more incentivized to react this now. But if they do, they do. Okay. Hold the Line is not actually... I've seen this a lot into Zen. I don't think this is actually a very good card into Zen right now, because he doesn't really have a way to draw cards anymore. But it could just be like a blue they're running. What is the follow-up here? I think we can maybe just get like a Spinning Wheel Kick. Does that fit the curve? It kind of does. Let's go ahead. Do we have another one in here? We do. So we didn't get our Chase the Tail value yet, but that's maybe fine. Maybe we'll just get Spinning Wheel Kick value. So we'll go ahead and do Kakar for 2. We could Arsenal this Tiger, but we're getting at least 1 value out of it. I don't know how badly we need a Tiger in Arsenal. Maybe we'll just get our free value while we can. Oh, it's 2 value because we start with the Biting Breeze. So yeah, definitely right to play Tiger there. No play Spinning. Then just end on a Spinning for 5. Seems pretty decent. Again, I'm not really worried about being fatigued by a CYB deck, especially with Cosmic in our deck. Like that, I don't think they're going to be able to kill us in time. Alright, Spinning will go on the bottom, so it does put us a little bit further away from CYB. Which is maybe something to consider. Alright, put in the pistol again. It's fine. Coming in for 2. Still don't think we really want to block this. Could block with like Tiger Eye Reflex. And then Arsenal like Bittering. And then do like 2-1-5. It's not bad. Maybe we'll wait for reactions, I guess, though. Sure. Give it a go again. They could like play an item out here and then we get a little bit punished, but maybe it's okay. We're missing out on like 1 damage. Sure. Biggest Link is totally fine. So we'll go ahead and here and block 3 and then probably just take the other 3. I do want to just get the value here and then Arsenal Bittering. This seems fine. Alright, I'm glad we did dodge this weakest link because it's pretty nasty against them. But we have a pretty efficient hand just for sending like good solid 9 damage. 2 card 9. It's not bad. They do still have that arm piece just kind of chilling there. I guess you can use it with Tunic and it's not bad. Maybe that's what it's for. Interesting. I feel like there may be better things to do with Tunic like double CYB or something, but who knows. Again, I think this is kind of how you beat CYB. You kind of get them to a point where you're constantly just pressuring their life total and they're having to block, and then eventually you just pivot with like Traverse into Cosmic, and that's kind of how you win. Like, you do want to stay at a relatively like high life total against them, because they're not going to put up a lot of pressure if they're trying to develop out CYBs, which is kind of like the downside of it. All right, we'll go ahead and Arsenal a Bittering though. Okay, they're playing out a CYB on end step, which is fine. Oh yeah, I guess Heavy Industry does kind of work with the CYB game plan as well. It's kind of cool. And I'm still not too worried about the life total here. All right, coming for 2. Or no, sorry, they're loading. Sure. It's fine. So we have a pretty efficient hand next turn as well, because we can go Bittering into... Well, the Breed Anger is kind of awkward. You do Bittering into like 4-3-2-1 Arsenal something. So we are kind of incentivized to block with some part of this hand. See what their reaction is though. Or is there a reaction? Oh, CYB, sure. I probably should have paid attention to that. Interesting. Okay, good to know. So we probably should have blocked with like 100 wins or something, but we're still probably fine here. So we'll start with Bittering, pitching. How do we want to pitch? I guess we can just play out the 100 wins as an extra 2 damage. That's fine. I don't think it's efficient, because I think we do probably still want to block against CYB just to kind of like conserve life total a little bit. All right, if they're paying with a card, that means they're CYBing, but if they're paying with Tunic, that means they're probably just covering it here with no CYB. Okay, good information. All right, we'll go ahead and play the Aspect. Then we can do 2, 1, 2. It's not terrible. Is it? Oh, it gets +1 until end of turn. Interesting. Oh, so you can use like twice in the same turn, huh? If you like close the chain, it's kind of cool, right? Because when this defends, you may pay red, so it'll still have +1, but it'll have the -1 counter on it, so you can block like 2 twice in a turn. Is that how that works? I think so. Okay, great hand. This means, okay, this runs means it's not great. That's fine. So now we're just incentivized to kind of block out a little bit here. We are still going to play out most of this hand, though. So we'll go ahead and block with Biting Breeze, just because it's not going to get much value playing it next turn, right? All right, loading Pistol again, and then what are we doing with the last card? CNC is fine. So we'll block another 6 here, and then what's the game plan after that? Could block 6 here and just develop out the Pouncing Paws and then send CNC at them, but it doesn't really do a whole lot. Here we're just blocking 6 here, sending 6 on our turn, and then Arsenal Bittering Thorns and send it next turn. That seems okay. Again, we're just kind of holding out for Cosmic here. Like, we don't really need to be in a rush. Or, sorry, we're sending 4 at them, which is like, sure, whatever. But at least we're not taking any damage. We're kind of like playing into their game plan a little bit, but like we still have the Cosmic backup plan, so I'm not like super concerned about fatigue. All right, we'll go ahead and pass back. They are at 4 CYB, which is a little bit scary. Which colors have they used so far? 2 reds, 2 yellows, so they have 3 blues and 1 of each. Not bad. All right, getting gunned down. That's fine. Sure. They can shoot me to their heart's content. I wonder if they even run any of the other items in this deck. Maybe they cut them for this matchup or something. I have no idea. Loading, sure. Send in 4 every turn. This is basically just a Betsy cosplay. Okay, so we do have Chase Aspect into Tiger Swipe, which is obviously good. I guess the question is, do we want to just go ahead and use our Pouncing Paws now? Like, it's not going to get a whole lot better, except to block out, like, a CNC, I guess. Like, we could give, like, 2 cards, but they've already used 2 of them. I guess they have weakest links, but I don't know. I feel like blocking with Paws here might be, like, a mistake, but I do maybe want to use the Tiger at some point if we get, like, a double chase. Even that's kind of, like, not really doable. Yeah, I don't know if I like the block there, actually. That might come to bite me in the ass a little bit. I think we maybe had, like, 1 or 2 more turns where we could have, like, not blocked with Paws and been fine. I do want to, like, guarantee I get the value on it, but it's probably not worth it to, like, open myself up to disruption. Because now we don't have, like, the 6 block total. Although they do let the Biting Breeze hit. Okay, they're rippling away, which does not work. Notably, Crouching Tiger is not a token. So, they might not want to do this. Yeah, I was trying to explain that the Crouching Tiger is actually not a token, which is kind of like arbitrary. But like it is technically not a token. No problem. Okay. So we do have the Biting Breeze coming in. Again, they are now incentivized to block with Herbaloy, which makes sense. Which we will just go ahead and Path Well Traveled. We'll gain the resource. And then we do have aspects left on the deck, which is obviously quite good. Go ahead and get one now. Let's get that, and then we'll attack with our Tiger and do our Chase of Aspect into Tiger Swipe, which is pretty good. It can't obviously like heal a lot of this damage back, but it's still a lot. Still sending a lot of damage here. Alright, they do have Sync though, so they're probably going to be able to block most of it. But again, they are getting pretty precariously low on life totals, and they still have to like basically give us cards to develop out their CYBs as well. So I don't actually think they're in all that great of a spot here. We do get them down to effectively 6, although it's more like they're at 40 right now. But that's how CYB is sometimes, am I right? And again, we're not in any rush. Like, we still have... Oh, it looks like they might be in trouble. We'll go ahead and pass back. It's not technically GG yet, but I don't think this is actually a very great matchup, especially when we just have the Cosmic backup plan. Alright, so here we do have Drop in the Ocean, but not a great way to use it. Could also like play the Windchakra out, Crouching Tiger, something, Chase the Tail. I'm just gonna pass on this though. Alright, they give go again, which is fine. Alright, weakest link is also fine. So here I think we'll go ahead and just block 6. Again, we're not in any rush. We still have the Cosmic backup plan, so we're not at risk of decking really. Seems pretty safe. I don't think it's completely GG yet. Like, they still do have a ton of counter blessings, so we're not really doing much this turn. So, like, they could block 6 and then play a CYB, and they're pretty much ahead. Or they're probably, like, stabilized at that point. Or they have, like, a react here. Yeah. Again, we're still just holding out for Cosmic game plan. Hopefully we get to. And we do. Cool. I think that wins us the game. So yeah, this is kind of why I think Zen doesn't. So like, I like 2 Cosmics into like CYB decks just because it gives you a lot of insurance. With 1 Cosmic, if you like block early with it and you lose it, it can be a little bit harder to do what you want to do. But with 2 Cosmics, it's like almost guaranteed. All right, they are pulling Tunic to do something here. CYB is fine though. And here we can potentially even hit them with the... we can potentially hit them with the 21 damage Cosmic, which is pretty sick. Bet you've never seen that before, huh? Okay, I guess not. The dream is long dead. But we will hit them with just a normal Cosmic for 20. Which is pretty decent. Not bad. And again, this is how I typically beat CYB decks, is just sending a big Cosmic twice at them and they kind of die. They might, like, they can still technically live here if they have, like, a big react into something else or, like, a CYB, sure. It gets them to 14, which is, they can still have a react from Arsenal and maybe get there. Yeah, GG. But yeah, it seems like pretty hard for them to deal. Let's look at their deck. I'm actually kind of curious. I've never seen, like, a CYB dash before. They're running Truce, Cosmic, Hold the Line, this rounds on me. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think we're at super high risk there. We also probably would have had another Cosmic in a couple cycles. Oh, that's really interesting. We never saw levels that game either. And a Sacred Art. Oh, wow. Yeah, we still had a ton of threats left in the deck. So I'm pretty confident in the CYB matchup as Zen. I don't, like, 2 Cosmics pretty much makes it really easy. You can run, like, Talisman Creation and stuff, but again, I don't think it's super necessary. Let's see if we can get one more quick one. Hopefully not a CYB deck. Okay, this is... Oops. All right, we've got a new. In general, I like to go second against new. And then, what do we want for board? I think I typically board something like this. Okay, it looks like they're leaving though. All right, it's the same Betsy. I don't really want to play against the CYB Betsy. Hello, Buck.
I have a question.
What's up?
Do you want me to chop down the Bolton game, or do you want me to, for the most part, leave it alone?
You can chop it. If you want it.
Because otherwise this video is going to be very short.
Maybe, like, cut out, like, the dead time like you would a normal video.
Alright,
like...
I'm going to treat the Bolton game like a normal game.
Yeah, maybe do that.
I should get into options trading.
Alright, we have a Prism here. Against Prism, let me see what I have on the board. We do want needles in a Prism generally. And no reacts. I think just running the normal 60 seems good. Can maybe consider cutting, like, the Tiger Eye Reflex for, like, Flick Flack. Seems kind of marginal. Again, I think this is kind of one of the matchups where I don't necessarily know if you want Tiger Eye Reflex. Seems okay. Just kind of on brick hands, but again, like, you don't generally want to be blocking Prism a ton. I'm going to try to really focus on my needle usage for this game. So let's start by figuring out what we want to arsenal here. I feel like it's probably the blue. It's hard to say, because I want to do, like, 100 Winds, or I want to do, like, 100 Winds Aspect, Biting Breeze, Tiger, which is obviously pretty good. Let's start with the 100 Winds and see what happens. I think in an ideal world, if they, like... I almost want to arsenal, like, Biting Breeze is, like, my ideal arsenal target. But, like, just sending 6 damage at them also seems kind of, like, decent, just to put them off cards. Do you want to put the Biting Breeze in arsenal? They probably do have some amount of, like, maybe one more blocking card and one no block in hand. I think I kind of just like passing here. We get a little bit of filtering, and then we get to set up a blue Biting Breeze in arsenal for when we hit a Transcend. And this is kind of why I wanted to do that. So we do draw into the Transcend card, which is quite good. Okay, playing out of Genesis is not great against Zen. I generally think it's a little bit too slow, just because we do have the needles to easily kind of pressure it. But it is not terrible here. We were going to start with the Biting Breeze at them, though. If they play an ALS, it's fine, because we can still just, like... They pretty much have to dump their entire hand to develop out ALS, and then, like, they can maybe get, like, one free Genesis trigger, but they're not going to be doing anything else crazy on their turn. Alright, Biting Breeze will hit. One important thing to note here is they could Halo for Rebirth, and then they could negate our Passover. which would suck. It's definitely not great, but I think that's like a fine usage of Halo if they want to do that. Oh, actually, sorry. We should target. We should target the red, right? Because Rebirth only cares about yellows. Is that how that card works, or is it just any Herald? Forget. This is pretty good though. So we have an extra tiger here for the chase. Maybe we want to get a tiger swipe here, just so we can clear Genesis at the end, and then we can Arsenal breed anger, and we don't even need to use needles here. So let's start with tiger first here. We'll target them. All right, get another 1 chip in, which is pretty good. Then we will activate Zen. Get our... I guess we probably should have played the Chase the Tail first, huh? Okay, this is a slight misplay, but it's fine. We'll go ahead and play the Chase the Tail now. I do want the tiger in hand as like redundancy almost. Interesting. I'm wondering if they may want to activate that just to banish this. It's probably not terrible. I mean, we're still they're only getting us 3 value here basically. It's like fine. We did technically like misorder, so they are allowed to do this, but this is also like just a very weak Halo in general. Like, I think this kind of play was a lot better when like Bonds of Agony was around. It's still not, like, it's still decent here. Like, if we didn't have this extra tiger in hands, they would have like eaten 7 damage or something, or like 6 damage basically. But they still, I guess, they still do pressure our, like, now we have to use this 100 Winds to attack the Genesis, which is like not ideal necessarily. I guess we can use Needle to attack Genesis and Arsenal 100 Winds. That's probably better. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that now, I guess. So I think there was like a little bit of a misplay here, but again, I don't feel particularly threatened by their board state at this point. We do have the Chi developing deck, which is also quite strong. Like, I think actually like the play that turn might have been to just well, if I targeted the wrong Herald, like, you can punish me by doing that, basically. Here we have Herald Triumph for 7. They currently have no soul. We could actually block 7 on this with Pouncing Paws and 2 cards from hand. And I don't even think that's terrible. But, like, giving them 1 soul is probably fine. I think I'm going to say no blocks. If they had more like resources out, like if they had like Herald, or if they had a Soraya like developed, like, or the Figment of Erudition developed, I think I'd be more incentivized to block this. But because they don't, I don't think I'm gonna care. I do just want to generally try to pressure them, especially with our needles still getting full value. All right, looks like Tasha are kind of bugged there, so we will get hit for 7. They get probably Figment of Erudition. I imagine they're probably going to play 1 more Herald if they have it. In terms of like armor priority, in general, what I like to do for this matchup is save armor for Herald of Erudition. Just because drawing 2 cards is pretty nasty. I don't think it was wrong to use like Pouncing Paws there and like block 7. It just kind of like seems unnecessary, especially if they have a follow-up Herald. Like, maybe they have like a nastier one, like Judgment or something, that we care about more. Okay, and they do have a Herald of Erudition, so we were getting a little bit rewarded for being kind of conservative on our armor here. Okay, but what do we want to do, I guess is the question. So they've used Halo, so we don't need to worry about anything funky. We can like block with Traverse and like E-Strike, and then get a Chi, and then maybe get like a Tiger Swipe or something cute. I'm not opposed to that. Sure, let's go ahead and block 5 on that. We're definitely blocking 5 on this. I guess the question is what? I think it's fine to just catch in our Traverse here now. It's not like the best Traverse in the world, but it gets 2 block. We get a free Tutor, which is fine. Then a Crouching Tiger can also potentially be annoying next turn. They do get a free Arsenal, though, which is a little bit spooky, but they're only at 1 soul at this point, so we don't have to worry about Soraya into draw cards yet. Okay, I don't typically like playing Ancestral Harmony as my first game action if I have the opportunity to. So we don't have to worry about Ravages off of their Halo anymore, so I'm kind of wanting to start off with Needle here, actually. If they have Ravages from hand and they want to go ahead and do the Ravages trick where they destroy their own Herald, destroy their own Angel, I think I'm kind of fine with that. They could do it, but they basically have to sacrifice their entire turn to do that, which is like kind of like playing out like an ALS, but like it's not even that good necessarily. Okay, they play out an ALS, which is also fine. So this I think is okay. Again, we kind of bait out an ALS here. We have a Chi still in hand, which is like a little bit like weird, but whatever. And we'll go ahead and attack ALS. They're not like developing out their board. They're kind of more so just stalling until the next turn, which is fine. And they also had to have 2 blues to do that. Like if they have like two, like a yellow there and a blue, it's like not as good, obviously. All right, looks like they're gonna come in for 4. Again, not generating a ton of value here, but it's like decent for them to have done that. Let's go ahead and say no blocks because it's just for vanilla damage, which again I don't think we really care about. I think the most annoying card here would probably be like Dissolve Reality or something to just kill our arsenal, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Okay, so this turn, we do know that they are on ALS. There are some Prism lists that are not on ALS. So I think I'm going to lead off with the Spinning Wheel Kick. And I think we're actually going to pitch the Chi here and target them. Let's not get cute with Needles this turn. I think we have a way to use our mana effectively. We'll go ahead and now Break Chain, Wind Chakra, Homage, and see what they want to do. Get our resource, let the Wind Chakra resolve. And then what do we want here? I think Breed Anger is like not terrible. We could also get like Key Unleashed, but then we tap out of action points, which is like kind of fine. We could also just like weave in a Needle here. So the Judgment's gone, so I'm less scared of like getting this right now. We also didn't have to activate Zen, by the way. We could have just transcended and not activated Zen. All right, that reacts. So we get our 2 free needle damage in, and then we get to send 3 into 7, which is quite good. All right, we get him down to net 11. Which is a pretty good spot to be in, although they are keeping a 5-card hand, which is a little bit scary. We do have a lot of our armor up, though, to block, so we're not in a terrible spot. I could have also considered playing out this 100 wins at some point. I kind of just forgot about it, if I'm being honest. Okay, so next turn, what is our ideal turn next turn? So this is a case scenario where we do not want to let this first Herald hit, because what that'll let them do is basically do Figment. They'll basically be able to flip Figment and then draw 2 cards. So blocking out this specific Herald is really good because it denies them the free flip first and foremost, and then it also denies them a soul to draw cards off Soraya. So I think here we are actually going to give up our cards here. We're going to block 7 here. Again, I think it's important to try to block this Herald. They did have the Angelic Wrath, which is a little bit unfortunate, but not much we could have done there. I don't think you typically play around this card, but like a lot of Prisms are running it, so maybe it is time to start playing around it a little bit, but I don't think it's terrible to just block 7 and make them have it there. So they are probably going to get a lot of erudition value this turn, which is fine. Okay, and developing on a Pierce, so not doing erudition is fascinating. Okay, interesting. Maybe they're just flipping protection for life. Okay, that maybe makes sense. Not sure. All right, let's go ahead and, okay, well actually, how do we want to do this? Sorry. We do want to kill the Pierce Reality first and foremost. We can use Pouncing Paws to do that if we want, but I don't love using the Tiger to do that. I think I'm going to start with Bittering Thorns at the Angel, and then we can like needle them and then needle Pierce. Maybe seems okay. Because this will give us the actual +1, assuming this connects with the Angel. So you do get the +1 on our needle, which is pretty good. It means they can't really pop it reliably. And then we'll use the last needle, I think, to target their Pierce. Could also play this 100 wins out from Arsenal. I'm not entirely sure what it's doing here. What am I doing with this 100 wins? Is it better to just sit on this, or is it better to play it out? We get 3 damage in, but giving up an arsenal, like, how much does that really actually do? I'm not sure. Killing Pierce is pretty easy, though. Like, we're sacrificing 2 damage to kill Pierce, which I think is pretty decent value. Again, I'm still not sure what this card is doing, but it's here. It's hanging out. So this is basically the same situation we were put in last turn, where we have to make them have Angelic Wrath in order to get their erudition value. And I think we're going to do the same exact thing, honestly. So we're going to block 7 here. If they have the Angelic Wrath, that's whatever. If they don't have Angelic Wrath, I think we're in a pretty good spot. So yeah, I think we're going to just block here. Get our Tiger Eye reflex value, and then if they have Angelic, they have Angelic. But again, we're doing the same thing. We're basically denying the erudition flip and the draw card on the same turn. Because also important thing with Luminaris is that this angel does not have go again. So if this angel hits, they have to wait a full turn cycle before they can get erudition value, which is really good. Here we're going to say no blocks, though, because I think we have a pretty good hand that can kind of just push through a lot of damage next turn. This drop in the ocean is most likely going to be used for pitch, and then we're just going to get our full needle value, and then Bittering Thorns plus Aspect, and then Tiger, whatever. I think that one turn we could have probably played around ALS, but it was kind of like, kind of just weak for them to do that, if I'm being honest. Okay, let's start here with Bittering at Sikhem. Pitch our drop in the ocean. And we'll just guarantee the hit on Bittering. Alright, so we get our free +1 value, which is really good. Next, we'll follow up with the Aspect. Oh, actually, important thing, I probably should have... Oh, actually, there's probably a better ordering for this. I think I should have actually needled after this. Yeah, that's probably better. Alright, we'll go ahead and 100 wins, because now we're basically forcing them to block needles, which is, like, not necessarily what you want them to be doing. Like, the ideal play here, I think, was Bittering into Needle, into 100 wins into Aspect. Because now if we want to force cards out, I think it's right to force 1 card out of their hands, but I don't think we give the second Needle here. Because now we're putting them on exactly 1 Herald. Okay, but if they're not going to block the first one, we will go ahead and give them the second one. So we do get 4 free value here, which is really, really nice. Again, I think we did misorder that, but it's okay. Okay, we found a Popper too, which is really good. Unfortunately, they do have the Herald of Triumph, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we can still block this, which I think I'm honestly going to do. We can do 2 into CNC. It's not bad. Again, I think we're still blocking this. Like, they've basically been at 1 soul, and they have to get a soul if they want to get erudition value. So denying them the erudition value, I think, is really, really important in this matchup. Because now they have to have Angelic Wrath to force it through, and they're still not flipping, which is really good for us. So now they're having to pay to flip, but, or they're warding. Okay, interesting. Sorry, I thought they were activating Prism. So now we're just going to Needle into CNC, and then this should put them off tempo, basically, for the rest of the game. They'll have to block 3 on this, and then they'll have to give us another 2-3 blocks, or they lose their arsenal, which is really, really good. Or they can, like, flip Figment of Erudition, but again, if they're doing that, they're probably not winning the game from this spot. And this is what I kind of mean, like, some people just think you go full aggro into Prism and just, like, never block anything, but Zen actually blocks, like, fairly well. It feels bad to, like, block, like, a Triumph or something, but, like, you do actually want to block in some spots if you can, like, deny them, like, the soul breakpoints that they need to kind of, like, develop out their game plan. Okay, and this is a really, really solid hand. Might not look like much, but this hand's actually, like, really decent. Yeah, and this entire game, they basically haven't been able to flip Soraya, just because we've been keeping it off of them. So we'll go ahead and put Key Unleashed in the deck, seems fine. Transcend. And then we can just play at 100 wins for 1, or we can Arsenal it 2. Okay, looks like they're probably off of it though. So they had an ALS here, which they could have played out. So what does that hand look like? They play out ALS. We transcend. They pitch. They have to pitch 3 yellows to do an ALS, and then we have transcend. We play out blue Hunter Winds just to get our hand. We arsenal, or we play out blue Pouncing Key. We arsenal Hunter Winds. Have Chi in our hand, and then we draw 3 cards, which would be Bitter and U-Strike Cosmic. Okay, yeah, we're still fine in that position if they ALS. Okay, interesting. So I don't think this person was playing bad by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that like ALS and Judgment are not necessarily like very good threats into Zen, especially like Spectre stuff like Genesis as well. I think it's maybe just like a macro like gameplay thing. Again, I don't think they like played poorly or anything. It was just kind of like Zen kind of eats that kind of strategy alive. Yeah, but those are kind of some simple Zen games. Again, I don't really want to get like we're still moving, so again, I don't want to go like too deep into like deck building or whatever. But those are just kind of some just for fun games. Thank you all for watching, and again, I'll see you all next time after we move. Again, this is probably gonna be like the last video before we move, but thank you all for the continued support, and we'll be back soon.